back again with sort of the second video for reconfiguring my pedal board to work with 3 amplifiers. Well, two amplifiers for the guitar and one for the CS10, which is going to have its own little effects loop and everything like that as well, just with self-oscillating delay and things like that. Main amplifier is going to be pretty clean. The main one that I rely on is the Ampeg. And yeah, I'm sort of only going to run one pedal in the effects loop for that, and but I'll just sort of explain what I'm going to do. I've had a bit of a clean. I cleaned all the pedals up. I cleaned the pedal board up. I've got some adhesive tape which I won't be using straight away. I'll set the pedal board up and I'll use it and probably give myself a week and a half, 2 weeks, and be sure that I'm sort of satisfied. Play with the band and see if it all works. But this is sort of what I worked out. So I'm going to go guitar signal straight into the Whammy, and then Whammy has a dry and wet signal. Obviously dry meaning it's a straight guitar signal, and wet meaning that it's the affected signal. So what I'm going to hopefully do with that is go dry straight to the Ampeg, and then have the Echo Puss in the effects loop. The way huge Echo Puss, which is a cool little pedal, standard like sort of analog delay, and then from there that's the dry signal, and then from there it splits off to the wet. The wet signal goes to the Screaming Blues pedal, which is this one here. I really like this pedal. I've had this for a fairly long time. I've actually owned 2 of them. I don't know how I actually acquired the second one, but yeah, really reliable standard overdrive. I used it just to give it a bit of bite to the clean signal. But I had this sort of dual output, and I thought, well, what I would do there is I'm already splitting the signal, and I'll take the wet signal through to this, and then I'll go from this to, actually before this, sorry, my apologies, we go up to a tuner from the wet signal on the Whammy. We go up to the volume pedal here, and then we go and put a tuner in this little section here, which isolates the signal and is always on, and you just put it to a tuner and it's got no return. And then obviously the input's going to come from that wet signal on the Whammy. The output's going to go through, back to the Screaming Blues. The Screaming Blues is then going to split off and go to the dseed delay, which is a cool cheap delay. It's a bit finicky, it's a bit sort of fiddly and whatnot, but I think the idea is there. But yeah, it's going to go to that, and then it's going to go to the Vox. So the Vox is going to be quite affected. It's going to have your Whammy sound. It's going to have the droning capabilities with the volume pedal, doing volume swells and things like that. It's going to have that little bit of overdrive, and that's about it. But then we obviously got this extra output, and what I was thinking with that is, it says mixer there, so I'm probably going to go straight from that output into this noise clamp. Now this noise clamp here it's basically like a 2-channel little thing. Whatever you want to isolate and have sort of the noise gate work on, you put in the return and send loop, like an effects loop on the back of an amp. And I was putting the big Muff through this, because it was just the noisy pedal. It was sort of vintage build, and it was Germanium transistors and just all around pretty noisy. I thought I like sort of a real fast sounding fuzz when you stop playing, and I was sort of going for the Smashing Pumpkins type of thing. I had I still have it, but the Fender Mustang with the single coil pickups, and they were sort of made for distortion, and yeah, no, it worked really cool, and this really worked, and I used it. The sensitivity was only about here, so it still had a bit of, it was just doing its job. But this has another feature as well. You take the back plate off, you flick a switch, and this switch, whatever's isolated in this effects loop, will get shut off from this main input and output signal, which is really cool. And I think what I'm going to do is put the synth in that input and output signal, and I'm going to run from this bad boy into your standard input, And then on this output, I'm going to put the self-oscillating delay. And I think what's going to happen there is I can sort of bring the synth in and out. I can do volume swirls over into this, which is going to come out into the synth with the delay and everything. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. I'm gonna try it and see how it all works. Like I said, set the pedal board up as I sort of mentioned, and use it for a couple of weeks and see if I can get some cool things happening and I'm satisfied. And yeah, that was the other thing. It's going to the solid state amplifier. It's going to like this little Ibanez Troubador that I have at the minute, and just because, and just to see what we can do. Like I've said before in a previous video, I don't feel heaps comfortable putting a vintage unpredictable amplifier through like a boutique Vox. Yeah, I just don't know whether that's a good idea, because the frequencies you can get with this thing are so out there that I don't mind putting it through a solid state that could probably handle the little tranny amp. So I'll give it a go. So I'm just going to recap on that real quick. So it's going to go guitar to whammy. Whammy's going to split off. The dry signal's going to go straight back to the Ampeg. The Ampeg's going to have the Echo Puss in the effects loop. So then now we come back to the whammy. The whammy's been split off, so the wet signal's going to go up to my volume pedal, which is going to have a tuner isolated in it. Then it's going to come from the tuner into this bad boy here, the overdrive. And then the overdrive's going to split again. And the main amplifier signal is going to go to the dseed. Then the dseed is going to drop off to the Vox amplifier. And then we come back to this. And obviously, as I said, it was split off. So then the mixer output's going to go to the noise clamp. The noise clamp's going to be switched to the FX loop feature. And within that effects loop, we're going to have the synth isolated in there. And I'm going to be able to turn that on and off to bring it into the signal. And then from there, the output is going to have the self-oscillating delay. So all the I'd be able to capture all the LFO sort of manipulation and doing all those little things. And it might get really crazy and I might not like it, because what I have been doing is having the delay before and then modulating the delay, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that'll be up in the air in there. Like I said, I'm going to use it for a couple of weeks and see if it all works. And if it all works and I'm happy with it, I'll stick it down with some Mammoth